as I approached the mall, I saw a young man um, dressed like a college kid. He had a ball cap on and he had a backpack. He did have dark hair, and um, he had. If I were to physically describe him now, it's a little behind me. I do have a description of him on tape that I recorded myself on the 12th of September. However, this is the point being that any military operation of this sophistication would have planted observers. There certainly was observers on the ground in New York, and I'm not talking about Americans. I'm talking about people that were planned to watch the outcome of their own attack. And military history will provide evidence that you do not go into a major battle such as this without having people on your side that are there to do nothing but observe the results. So it was my belief immediately after leaving the grounds that there are observers walking amongst us. Call me crazy, I've been called it before, the name doesn't bother me, but the notion that if you were to go through years and years of planning an attack, why wouldn't you put observers on the ground to make sure that you got an accurate report back from your own people? That was my belief, and that became my motivation for the rest of the day. I stayed on, walking through the crowd, looking for people that did not look like they were in shock. Let me back up. I was looking for the telephone, and I continued to find no resource for that. As I approached the mall, I saw a young man dressed, like I said, as a college student, dark hair, large nose, about 6 foot tall, and he was talking on his cell phone as I approached him. And I thought, oh my goodness, somebody's gotten through. I'll ask this young man if I can use his phone when he's done. As I approached him, excuse me, he saw me coming up. He finished his conversation and closed his phone. And I said, may I use your phone to call my wife? And he said with a strong Arabic accent, and he was not kind and he was not sympathetic. And he said with a very strong accent, nothing is working. He didn't say his phone isn't working. He didn't say he can get through. He said nothing is working. Immediately, I thought, well, what a rude bastard. And I took about 3 steps away and I thought, no, that's more than rude. He said nothing is working, and he was mad. And he didn't appear to be in shock, and he didn't appear to be sad, and he didn't appear to be terrified. He was pissed. A lot of us were pissed. A lot of us were very angry, but none of us were disappointed. And he had an air of disappointment in his voice and in his facial expressions. This has stayed with me for a long time, because I feel as though I may have stumbled across an observer at that point. I took about 10 steps and I turned around, and now I saw the young man speaking to an older man, same facial structure, long gray wavy hair, and they were speaking in a fashion that later on, again, a lot of this could be my imagination, but the body language in this case seemed to be very odd, because they were speaking in a private conversation mode. Both heads were tilted into each other, and they were speaking secretly amongst each other. And as I looked around the crowds, everyone was speaking to each other, but it seemed like I didn't see anybody trying to sneak a conversation or trying to have an extra private conversation. People were speaking loudly. They were speaking out. They were crying. They were yelling. And these two guys were walking down the sidewalk with their heads tilted in towards each other, whispering. Something seemed very odd about that, and I wish I'd have followed those bastards today. Who knows? They might have just been more in control of their emotions than the other 3,000 people that were around us. 30,000 or whatever it was.